Hey guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another Ghost of Tsushima video. I am happy to finally present to you guys my Inferno Ronin build. Guys, this build is going to be specifically for Nightmare Survival. If you are looking for a Nightmare Rival Fire Ronin build, then I suggest that you go over to Gushy Gaming's channel and check out his recent build for his Fire Ronin for Nightmare Rivals. It's absolutely insane. Guys, I'm not claiming that this build is the best build out there, and this is not a speedrun build, but this is a build that I found for my playstyle that just does insane damage and is actually really fun to play. So if you are here just for the build and you want to take a screenshot and bounce out, I will be putting the build at the very beginning of the video. But if you're here for a more in-depth video on why I chose the stats that I chose, then this one's for you. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, please be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If not, it's all good. We love y'all anyway. Without further ado, I present to you my Inferno Ronin build. Enjoy. Hey guys, what is going on? So first things first, I told you guys that I was going to leave the build on the screen for those of you guys who wish to screenshot it and dip out. So here's the build. All right, guys, so for those of you who are here for a more in-depth video, this one's for you. So first things first, let's hop right in, guys. I am using my water katana. So I'm using my water katana with melee damage, oni damage, way of the flame, and burning blade. So melee damage, guys, specifically, I'm using this along with way of the flame in order to get as much damage as possible with my heavenly strike. As you see, I am not using the stone striker because I am using heavenly rebuke charm, which does give you the heavenly strike, which we'll go over here in a second. So I'm able to use my water katana, which is my favorite stance, which is the reason I love this charm. And I'm using melee damage because it does increase the damage of your heavenly strike because you're doing melee damage, along with having way of the flame on there. Now, we did determine that way of the flame is not affected by ghost weapon damage or by fire damage. When it comes to using your katana, guys, if you don't like the heavenly rebuke charm, you can use stone striker, which is the OG Fire Ronin stone striker, which everybody used as a Fire Ronin because of heavenly strike. Now, the thing with this, guys, that is a big plus is that dealing damage to staggered enemies grants you extra damage with the stone striker. Now, I don't know if it does the same thing with heavenly rebuke with having it giving you the actual heavenly strike for my water katana. However, I do know that it does repel enemies that are nearby when you perform the heavenly strike with your regular katana. So I have yet to be able to test the staggered damage increase with the heavenly strike that heavenly rebuke does grant us. For your stone striker, guys, you're going to want to have melee damage, oni damage, and way of the flame for sure. Now, there is another thing that you could put on here. You could put the water stance if you are looking to have that water stance on your arsenal, but I would suggest using burning blade. And I think that for me is that having the stone striker is the downside because I don't particularly like the stance because, you know, it is mainly meant for swordsmen fighting, and there's a lot of enemies there that are not swordsmen. So having the swordsman stance for me is really weird just because of the stab effect, which a lot of people swear by and say that it does really good damage, and I believe you, but I just don't like it personally. So I really like having the water stance. So not using a stone striker for me is great because it frees up that extra perk so I can have way of the flame and burning blade. Now, burning blade is actually amazing and it does proc a lot more than you might actually think, and when it does proc, it does do some really good damage, and it is affected by status effect damage and duration stats. Now, guys, I am using the bomb pack, obviously, and I have blast radius, which is absolutely crucial because you want to do as much blast damage as possible on the initial splash when the bomb hits the ground. And I also am using status effect damage, which I think is the absolute best second property that you could have on this bomb pack because of the black powder bombs, which I'm obviously using as well, along with flash bomb. So status effect damage applies to your black powder powder bombs. It applies to basically anything with a status effect. Black powder bombs, wave the flame like we just talked about, and basically anything that catches on fire, such as burning blade and fired up on a sticky bomb or kunai. And that's just the basic bomb pack, guys. As for my charm, I am using Heavenly Rebuke. So this charm is a game changer for me because, like I said, it allowed me to have my water katana, which is my ultimate favorite stance in this game. So Heavenly Rebuke, on performing Heavenly Strike, there's a 50% chance for lightning to strike an enemy nearby, and it also grants Heavenly Strike. This thing is absolutely insane. Now, guys, the lightning strike does not do insane damage, but I believe that if you have fire damage and status effect damage on there, that it does give you extra damage because the enemies, for one, are caught on fire, and that status effect is, you know, it does last for a little bit. So I have actually killed a big Oni with the actual lightning that happens from Heavenly Rebuke charm. It's actually crazy. And also what I like about the charm, guys, and honestly what I like about any legendary, is that it gives you 100% guaranteed stats. So my fire damage is a full 12%, Oni damage is a full 10%, Fire Master, and combat regen. I am using Oni damage on my charm and on my katana as well. So this Oni damage is actually very, very important as a fire Ronin for this build because these big Oni just absolutely melt. And like I said, this is mainly for nightmare survival, which we do see an absolute onslaught of Oni, and it's just super overwhelming. So having something to combat all those crazy big health bars is crucial. Oni damage applies to everything across the board: your melee damage, your fire damage, your blast damage, like wave the flame, like literally everything Oni damage applies to it. So having Oni damage as a neutral statistic is huge for me, and it's something that I really do swear by. Now, fire damage, guys, obviously fire damage when you are using your black powder bombs, and it applies for the burning effect as well. So this build, guys, is really centered around having massive damage from your black powder bombs along with the status effects that you are receiving from this build. Now, if it is immunity week, obviously this is not going to be very good for you, okay? Nobody's probably going to even use the Ronin for immunity week, but this is absolutely insane with fire damage. And honestly, having Fire Master on top of fire damage, on top of Oni damage, on top of status effect damage, just causes insane damage. And I think that this build just absolutely shreds. Now, guys, combat regen, if you don't like combat regen, you could absolutely switch it for increased resolve and maybe save a technique slot and not use that for your techniques. However, combat regen I found to be very helpful because of the fact that as a fire Ronin, guys, it's very hard to get healing, right? You don't have your healing incense, you're not using the healing ultimate, so having combat regen in a way to passively heal throughout the game is absolutely crucial, and it definitely keeps you in the game, guys. Combat regen health regenerates up to 50 max, not 50%, 50 max health. Healing rate reduced by half when in combat. So it has saved me on multiple occasions, guys, being able to travel to the next point just after completing combat and starting to get that heal. So by the time I get to the next point, I have enough health that I don't have to worry. It's an absolute game changer. Now, guys, if you are using Stone Striker and you do not like Heavenly Rebuke, I would highly suggest using a stealth charm where you could use ghost weapon damage. You could also use fire damage or Oni damage on there. So ghost weapon damage is huge, guys, because the ghost weapon applies to your black powder bombs. So with the nerf that happened, guys, there's no more damage increase. Now it is called ghost weapon damage, and the only bombs that are affected are the black powder bombs, which if you have ghost weapon damage, it does apply directly to the black powder bombs. Now for this build, guys, the Oni damage does apply directly to the black powder bombs along with regular bombs, and the fire damage applies to the status effect that happens once the black powder bombs explode. And if you're using a barrel on top of having Fire Master, you are going to absolutely shred these waves, and we'll go over playstyle a little bit later. So for the stealth charm, ghost weapon damage, you can have Oni damage or fire damage. Fire Master and resolve increase, you could use that, or like I said, combat regen. Now, guys, for my ghost weapon number 1, I am using the Spirit Kunai. For this build, guys, it is absolutely imperative. This is a game changer. So my Spirit Kunai has ghost weapon damage, which, as we just spoke about, applies directly to my black powder bombs, along with the damage that the actual kunai is doing, along with the extra 50% that the Ronin get from their techniques. I have cooldown reduction on kill, which is absolutely insane. I mean, you could also change that just because it is a spirit kunai to maybe even melee damage or status effect duration if you're so inclined. For me, I like having this up as much as possible, so in case I do miss my kunai, which happens a lot, even if you jump, kunai kind of just do whatever they want, that every kill I get will apply to my spirit kunai coming back, and it's already on a 30-second cooldown. So you get a couple kills with this bad boy and your cooldown's already almost up. So I am using ghost weapon damage, cooldown reduction on kill, super massive, and hidden blades. Guys, hidden blades, a lot of people are sleeping on hidden blades. Now you could use fired up, but hidden blades, when I say this thing does insane damage at up close range, oh my goodness. So if you run up to a big Oni guy and you use a technique that's called shotgunning that a lot of people are talking about, you can run up at close range and throw all 5 kunai directly into the gut of a big Oni and do just absolutely colossal damage. It's insane, and they do stack. You can either use it to shotgun it up at close range, or if you do a lot of big damage with your black powder bombs, then you can even throw these at range and get 3+ kills, and then your abilities back up, your kunai's back up, your smoke bomb is already halfway back up. It's absolutely insane, guys. Do not sleep on hidden blades. Now, if you do not want to use your spirit kunai, you can also use a sticky bomb. So for the sticky bomb that I would suggest you guys use is a cooldown reduction on kill, blast radius, increased radius, and fired up. So you could also use lucky on that as well instead of fired up. Either way works, guys. Now, increased radius does apply to your bombs as well from your bomb pack. So your concussion bombs and your black powder bombs. Sticky bombs are used mainly during speed runs because they do insane damage and grant absolutely insane resolve. For me, guys, I like my spirit kunai just because it does give me my cooldowns back faster. And like I said, this is for nightmare survival, mainly for solo queuing. So I like having my cooldowns up and being able to just know that no matter what fight I get into, I'll have something to defend myself. Now, guys, smoke bomb, smoke bomb, smoke bomb. I swear by smoke bomb. Okay, I will always have a smoke bomb when I'm running any kind of bomb pack on any kind of character, obviously unless it's a samurai, because, guys, that munitions is an absolute game changer. So my smoke bomb is running cooldown reduction on kill, just because of that huge 120-second cooldown rate, munitions, and lucky. So that lucky procs a lot more than you actually might think, which is amazing. And obviously having munitions right before you start a wave, in case you don't have 2 black powder bombs, you can throw this down and likely you'll get at least 1 black powder bomb, so you can throw extra at the enemies that spawn right in front of you. And like I said, guys, if you are looking for a different kind of thing to put here, Gushy does throw some caltrops in his build for his rivals. So if you guys want to check out how he runs his caltrops, you can definitely go and check his video out. But for me, guys, and for nightmare survival, I think smoke bomb is absolutely necessary, along with having munitions and all kind of cooldown reduction things on your smoke bomb. So guys, that is it for the gear that I am using. Now let's check out the techniques. All right, guys, so for my class ability, I have chosen obviously Flaming Roar. And wow, with all my Oni damage, with all the fire damage that we just talked about, with the status effect damage that we just talked about, this thing is insane. This absolutely shreds health bars, guys. It feels like having a ignite every 42 seconds, and it is so good and it is so strong. And we'll go over the playstyle and kind of how I use this specific ability, but having this ability is absolutely necessary. And this kind of goes into the Ronin not being able to really heal because you don't have a healing incense. So the Flaming Roar is just straight damage, guys, and it is beautiful. For my perk number 1, I'm using enhanced ghost weapons, obviously. So increased damage from all ghost weapons by 50%. That includes black powder bombs, and that includes your spirit kunai, and that includes caltrops if you decide to use caltrops. So having this as a Ronin is your biggest asset. This is the biggest one up from every class that the Ronin has. And if you're not using this, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot for this fire build. Now for my perk number 2, I am using increased resolve. So as you guys saw, I am not using increased resolve on the actual charm because my charm has combat regen, so I can get a little bit of heals. So I am using resolve on here because when you are using Heavenly Strike, do understand that it does take 1 resolve. So having at least 4 resolve slots grants you 4 strikes for your Heavenly Strike if you do have your bar full all the way. And 4 strikes plus Way of the Flame continue take out a big Oni just by yourself. So I definitely suggest having increased resolve, and it's absolutely needed for this specific build. And lastly, guys, I am rocking legendary because as you saw, I am using 2 legendary items. So these 2 items combined with everything that we just talked about, guys, the synergy in this build is insane, and it just provides for some absolutely beautiful and deadly combat that I think nobody can really ignore. So guys, that is it for the techniques that I am rocking and the gear that I am using as well. Now let's go a little bit into the play style of what I think in Nightmare Survival the Fire Ronin can be played like if you're not doing a speed run. All right, guys, so for Nightmare Survival and using this specific build, guys, I think the biggest thing is going to be learning the spawn points. You have to learn the spawn points. So if you do not already know the spawn point for each survival map, guys, I would highly suggest checking out the Discord, which the link will be down below, guys. I do have a section in Ghost of Tsushima that shows every single spawn point for every single map, including the newest map that just came out. So know the spawn points. Next, guys, I suggest meeting the enemy at the spawn point, kind of using barrels any chance that you get to place right at the feet of the spawn point. And right when they spawn, guys, what you're going to want to do is pop a smoke if you do have your smoke up, because having that smoke there will stop them from advancing and keep them clustered up. So when you throw your black powder bombs, you will have insane damage on everybody that is in the blast radius. So your bomb pack does have increased radius on there, and you want to make sure that you're using black powder bombs. Now, if you don't have black powder bombs and you did not have an ammo stash, I suggest throwing your smoke down right before the wave starts and picking up a couple more black powder bombs if they spawn in your smoke from the munitions perk. Now, guys, once you have that, be sure to bomb the enemies and get them really, really low, so you can throw a couple black powder bombs and then switch over to your concussion and throw a few of those. Jump in the middle of the enemies and hit your flaming roar ability. This will ignite every single individual in the radius on fire, and actually that radius is pretty big, so they will start taking status effect damage from your fire along with you throwing bombs. And then start picking off the little guys with your Way of the Flame plus Heavenly Strikes. So anytime you use Heavenly Strike, if you can help it, try to proc Way of the Flame, guys. Now take the big guys out. Also, if there's a bunch of little guys, you can throw your Spirit Kunai, which I would suggest doing as well, and be sure to get that cooldown reduction. Guys, do not forget to use those barrels. Those barrels are your best friend because they do stack with that Fire Master and that fire damage and that Oni damage that you have. Now, if the enemies blow the barrel up, it's not going to do anything to them. If you blow the barrels up, then you will benefit from that extra status effect and that extra fire damage. Now, guys, if you do end up meeting the enemies at the point, I suggest throwing a smoke bomb down so they can't find you, and then they'll get all centered right around one little area, and then kind of start doing the same little rotation that you did as if you met them at the actual point. If you don't have a smoke bomb, you want to run into the point while they're there and start bombing it with your black powder bombs, your concussion bombs. Jump in the middle of them, hit that flaming roar, hit the Spirit Kunai. Now, if you have a big guy, you can even walk right up and use that shotgun technique with that Spirit Kunai and do insane damage. And then after you've gotten all your resolve up, proc that Way of the Flame and start hitting them with those Heavenly Strikes, guys. That Heavenly Rebuke charm will proc and start hitting people with lightning strikes as well, and you will start doing some insane damage and pretty much hold the whole entire point by yourself. Guys, the Fire Ronin is absolutely crazy, and I had an absolutely great time making this build for you guys. I really hope you guys like it because I know the Fire Ronin community is absolutely amazing, and they all have these crazy builds that I don't know if I could compete with. But let me know what you guys think of this build down below, and maybe if there's something that you will change, or if you like it, or if you want to try it and you end up liking it, just let me know down below, guys. And if you have your own build, I suggest jumping in the Discord, guys, and throwing that amazing fire build into the Ghost of Tsushima section under Ronin builds. Guys, if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If not, it's all good. We love y'all anyway. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you on the next one. Peace.